What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Keys to the Rock. My name is Ben Rego, joined here by my great friend Daniel Woods. And Daniel, tell us, what is Keys to the Rock? What are we actually trying to achieve with this brand new endeavor?
I mean, this is an exciting
exciting
thing that we guys are putting together here. So what we're basically trying to do is put together like almost a video podcast. And the goal that we've looked at it from, I guess, our vision for how we see this going is we're basically just trying to provide, and there's like a gap in the market in terms of the education side of real estate. And I just think that, with the platforms that we have and the experience and the insight that we can provide, that we're just trying to share as much information about the real estate market, the industry, the trends, the ups and downs, and everything about the market over a monthly podcast. So once a month.
Podcasts are cool, but I've never even known of them before this. So video's even cooler. So I think, it's kind of a great way to, bridge the gap. And we're all involved in real estate some way. We all rent places. We all work in commercial buildings, or we want to buy places or whatever. But there's so many uncertainties and myths to do with the real estate market.
Yeah.
And what we really want to do, every month we would love to have new guests, whether that be real estate lawyers, appraisers,
architects, interior designers,
boundary surveyors,
landscaping,
contractors.
It could be just anything, right? And what they'll provide is basically just, with their experience, they're going to come and just basically give you all of the tips and the techniques and the solutions to how you can sort of work your way through any sort of real estate, anything real estate related. And I think that's just something that in the market right now, it's especially in Bermuda, it's sort of tough to find that type of information. So if we can just sort of point people in the right direction by providing a 20-minute or 30-minute, I don't even know how long we're going to do these things, but 30 minutes.
It all depends on the content. But
yeah.
But no, absolutely. And I think nowadays everything's interactive. Our generation, all generations, everyone is used to having great communication. And, I think really we want to be able to pose questions to people and also introduce what our schedule is going to be for future guests. And then, really have it not just us talking to you, because no one really wants that. We just want to be a vessel to continue to
share that information.
Push the
envelope. Get it out there. And like you said, Ben. So what we're planning to do, basically, the structure of the show will be, we will come together and we'll meet at different locations, and it'll be really exciting stuff. And might feature a property here or there. We'd have a guest. We put out question and answers and look for people to sort of things that you might want to ask an upcoming guest. We'll talk about current market news and events and things going on, and then we'll just share our insights from our experiences. So I mean, I'll let you go first. Like, tell who is Ben Rego?
Yeah, so I mean, both my grandfathers were in real estate. My mother and my father. My father still is in real estate, but my mother also was a good real estate agent for many years. And it's something that I never felt I had to do. Nothing that I was pressured in to do. But, eventually I just realized, I'm a big-time people person. I love sales, and I just love the connection and sort of the pairing of a buyer and a seller, or a tenant and landlord, and the journey of just helping people in what is really probably one of the biggest decisions they'll ever make in their life. So, I worked in Boston for about 4 years.
You was learning from like the best of the best out there, right?
The people out there, I mean, it's really like what you see on TV. It's so fast-paced, cutting-edge kind of, very, very aggressive kind of stuff. And
what you see on TV,
it's
no,
wild.
I get it.
The market there, anyone can sell real estate in a day. It's just so crazy and cutthroat. But,
no, I bet. And then so you've taken all of those like tips and everything that you learned out there, and you've brought that back to Bermuda, and been, I'd say, quite successful.
Yeah, but I think Bermuda it's different. We have a different way of doing things and business mannerisms and things like that. But I think overall, it's been a good transition. But something that even through doing something like this through this medium, I think we always want to continue to try to innovate and do new things, because as long as we have the energy, I think we can never ever ever stop pushing and doing anything to connect with people and do as best as we can.
No, that's spot on. I mean, yeah.
What about you, Daniel? Obviously, I know you studied abroad and you've come back to Bermuda.
Yeah. So I first got into real estate, and I mean, it was a conversation we probably actually had, a couple years ago. Well, I'll say quite a few years ago. And you was just like, some of the skills that you've been using where I was working previously and a lot more of event based would be quite transferable to real estate, share the similar qualities and whatnot. And as I started to, do a little bit more research on the real estate side, my dad was also involved in real estate quite heavily. And as I started to do more research, I just sort of strayed away from more of the agency side. And I realized there was just a little bit more, like, agency is very eat what you kill.
It's good that you did, because we wouldn't be on the show together if you were trying
to. We wouldn't.
Yeah. So, we're a good foil for one another.
This way, I did it so we can continue our friendship.
Exactly.
So just foresight. And then I realized all the opportunities that basically existed in the professional services side of real estate. So, I mean, you have agency work, which is what you do, a lot of, dealing with buyers, sellers, and whatnot. And then I'm actually dealing with more of the appraisal side and property management, and I mean, soon to be redevelopment, property redevelopment. And that's sort of where my, expertise is going to be.
Yep.
I'm working towards my chartered surveying designation.
Is that Rick's?
Rick's Royal Institute of Chartered Surveying. And, there's really a lack of people on island who actually have that skill set. And so I'll be one of the few, and I'm just basically just trying to, similar to you, like just trying to share the wealth with share the knowledge with the public. And I think what we've got going here, and the contrast of sort of how we see things from two different sort of aspects, is fantastic for the end user, right?
I think what you bring to the table and your skill set, I mean, looking to, 90% of sales, of course, are subject to financing, and it's so important, your role. And, I can say a property's worth so-and-so, but, obviously you guys have your own strategy and formula for doing it. And, I think it even leads into us having guests from the banks and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mortgage officers and things like that.
Because, I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I'm glad you said that, because, I mean, we got a few questions. And, I mean, I guess one of the most common questions that we always get a lot would be from first-time buyers and people trying to just basically get into, buy a piece of rock.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to buy a piece of rock and get involved in
Everyone wants the keys to the rock.
Keys
is what they're doing.
Yes.
Casual, quick little plug. First episode.
You're good at this. You're good at this. Yeah. But yeah. So that's the plan, and I think that's what we're gonna really delve into, and you guys can get into some questions. We can kick it off right now.
So I think it's really important to talk about current events. I mean, we all see and hear about so many different things in the newspaper and all of that, real estate related or not. But, I think definitely in the future, what we want to do is whenever something immediately comes out, there's red flags and all sorts of, confusion, right?
Yeah, just a lot of, RG comments.
Oh
just go for a field day, right?
It should be blocked. It should be blocked, right? But really, I mean, obviously,
prime example. Budget came out today.
Budget, a lot of people, hopefully everyone listened to that.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting things there.
So, I mean, if anyone has any questions surrounding, say, the budget or any current events and stuff like that are popping up,
the
and it just
$2.5 million for international buyers, the commitment that they have to make to Bermuda in many different ways. A lot of people were uncertain about that.
There was the lack of red tape for international buyers too, right? I saw there was a big uproar on Twitter. I mean, a lot of people saying, "Oh, why?" It was. Yeah. So a lot of people have different opinions about different things. And so, I mean, we are happy to sort of take on some of those questions and just sort of give sort of our analysis or our perspective as to how...
We have to digest everything. So whatever happens now, I think we want to field questions and we want to communicate with all of you. And certainly for the next episode, we'll address some of those.
And that's sort of how we can keep this as a running thing. I mean, like we said, this is our first episode. So, I mean... bear with us.
Might be our last. Might be the last.
So bear with us as we're figuring things out. But at the same time, I think we've got a good recipe for something here, and I think we're going to continue that. But anyway,
Speaking of questions,
let's get into some questions. So, I mean, we were just talking about it actually. International buyers. You have, I'll say, pretty. From what I see, a pretty global following and client base, and I know you deal a lot with international buyers. What are some of the, I'm not going to say myths, but what are some of the, I know there's a lot of people who think that they can just come off a plane and buy, a cottage on the beach, cottage on the beach and live in Bermuda happily. Yeah. Can you just provide some sort of...
look behind us, like literally in Bermuda sells itself. I mean, and again, further to the show, every single time, 12 episodes, hopefully a year, maybe even more every month, we'll do something. And there's just so many unbelievable hidden areas that most people don't see unless you're in real estate.
Yeah.
And from an international buyer perspective, Bermuda is a fantastic spot. Obviously, we're kind of the jewel of the Atlantic. We're close to the East Coast. We're close to Europe. And many people, as you say, international buyers think they can buy in Bermuda, but actually I would say the main thing is most of them think they can't. And unfortunately, good friends of mine who own charter boats or whatever it might be, there's a lot of fun in making the fact that Bermuda is very exclusive seem way too popular. And that really isn't the case. There's a lot of opportunity for international buyers to buy.
So what you're saying is basically there's people, say, a lot of people who work down Dockyard or work in the hospitality industry who say Bermuda's off limits. Is that what you're saying?
Always. And I have people who haven't even been to Bermuda, so I don't know where this myth is in the States or anywhere. And people contact me and be like, oh, I've heard that you can't buy in Bermuda. There was a short period of time where there was, a lot of difficulty for international buyers to buy. But right now, I mean, gosh, international buyers can buy fractional or timeshares for $100 and something thousand for, they'll get 6 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And there's some fantastic, condo, hotel, resorts, and amenities that they can enjoy. But the good thing is, I mean, some people are like, Ben, don't you wish that international buyers could buy absolutely everything, like the small cottage on the beach or whatever? Like
I know how I feel about that. But
it's not a good thing because Bermuda, there's 60-something thousand of us. There's 21 square miles. They're not making any more land.
And there was something that came out actually the other day, which is part of current events thing.
Yeah.
I was saying 40% of Bermuda is. I mean, I have my feelings over how you can't really get a proper number for that, just based on how we collect data. But they say 40% of Bermuda is owned by non-Bermudans.
That's definitely not true.
That's what,
no way.
You haven't heard that one before?
No chance.
Okay,
there's no chance because really, when you look to certain parishes and stuff like that, I mean, in order for a non-Bermudian to buy a house or a condo, it has to be over a certain threshold. We call it an ARV.
And annual rental value.
With that, without talking those numbers, which are very specific and don't make it like when I say, a house has to be $126,000. But ARV, annual rental value, right? That doesn't mean that a house of over $126,000. That doesn't mean you divide that by 12 and that's what that house would get on a monthly rental.
No, yeah.
I always say it should be called an annual rateable value. It's just it's a rating scale, so I've constantly said that. But
it's really just a metric that Bermuda generally uses
land tax
for land tax and a few other things, just used as a metric for a size of a house. But anyway, not to take away from your point. I see what you're saying.
But what comes from that is the real terms is that for a condo that's not a fractional or timeshare, a non-Bermudian can buy a condo usually at entry level of maybe $500,000 roughly. Previously. Now, of course, this whole $2.5 million investment thing that's throwing a spanner in the works. There's a lot of discussion, and we can address those.
Yeah, we can have.
Very recent.
That's something that we can actually probably just spend like an entire an entire episode on, and we can really just go through the nuts and bolts of it. Before
March 1st, things have to happen for that. But for a house, it typically means a house to be at least kind of $2 million. Usually, it's kind of $2.5 million. We have seen some where the ARV is just over the threshold, and a listing price is kind of in the low twos.
It fluctuates.
But basically, what it means is that international buyers can buy absolutely anything when they're over that threshold. But really, it's only the bulk of the higher part of the market. It's not the luxury market. So I would say, I'm sure there's numbers as you say, but non-Bermudians probably have 10%, 5%. Honestly, it's not that much, and it's really depending on neighborhoods. Yeah. I think if you go, it's Tuckerstown areas, but if you go west or if you go central, really it's maybe the waterfront properties and things like that, but everything else wouldn't be over that threshold. And certain nice condos as well.
Not as sought after for the luxury market. Yeah. No, I take your point. I take your point for sure. All right, well that was interesting. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome, Daniel. But again, whenever anyone buys, there's incredible amount of income generated for the government, which certainly in these COVID times, whether it's stamp duty, license fees that international and PRCs and people pay, it's massive, and we definitely all need that. And again, real estate affects all of us.
Yeah, and it supplies actually quite a bit to the national GDP, which I don't think a lot of people really take into consideration.
The most, is it not?
Not the most, but
second most. I'm pretty sure it's the third. We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. We got homework.
Anyway, it's massive, and whether it's contractors, masons.
There's a solid trickle down effect for sure from purchasing real estate. But anyway, so since we're talking about purchasing real estate, one thing that was one of the questions that we got, and I've sort of got my list a little hidden right there. So if you see me
Flapping
looking at
in
it,
the breeze.
Yeah.
Too far away.
But one of the main question I'd say, which was probably the most common, especially from our locals and people around our age, was first-time buyers. How do I enter the property market? What are do's and don'ts? What do I have to do to, explain the process to me, right?
Yeah.
And so if you don't mind, I'll sort of just take the lead on this one just because.
Go for it, bro.
Yeah, go for it, bro. All right, cool. So the first thing you have to do, right, is generally just have a conversation and shop around, actually, and with your banks, all right?
All banks.
All the banks.
No matter who you've banked with.
Yeah. Go talk to the banks and sort of get an idea of exactly where you are and where you're positioned, what your budget is. All right. That's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. That's going to save an agent a lot of time in the long run. All right.
Also, it really puts you in an advantage because a lot of the time right now, we are in what I would call over the last year, we're in a seller's market where that means that there's not that much supply.
We're getting to that topic.
But what I'm saying
You're jumping.
But
you're jumping.
But what I'm saying is it actually means that when you're already pre-approved, you can place a more competitive market offer for it.
Yeah, it's a speedier process, and you seem like you would be a more sought-after buyer because you are already pre-approved and you don't have to go through certain steps. And someone selling their property would be like, all right, this person can get the deal done. They tick the boxes, X, Y, Z, right? Is that what you was getting at?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, someone can put an offer no matter what it is. Way over asking price, it doesn't matter unless we know that not only would it be supported by an appraisal, which is stuff you do, but also that the bank will support them, that they have the means to proceed with the transaction. Yeah.
So number one, first thing to do is to go and get pre-approved. Get pre-approved to see, unless you got the cash on hand, which if you do, then by all means.
A cash buyer.
Fantastic. Sure. But if not, I think that's the number one thing, especially for a lot of first-time buyers, is to go through that process right there and just sort of see where you're at and really gauges exactly what is attainable for you. From that point, I would say go and sought after your own agent. All right. A lot of people, I find, they see the person listing the property and they go straight to that agent, which, I mean, we might agree to disagree on this one. And I mean, that's good. We're still going to be friends. We'll have a beer after this. But I find
kind of friends.
But I find that you sort of want your own agent to be your point person and have your best interests at heart. It's similar to like if you was a lawyer. So if I was suing Ben, I'm not going to go to Ben's lawyer and be like, I'm going to sue Ben. I'm going to say, my lawyer, go sue Ben. Because Keys to the Rocket's mine. Was my idea.
Please, yeah. Anyway, please don't sue me, co-host. Yeah. But no, ultimately, further to what you say, I mean, a lot of people, there's a lot of uncertainty and just lack of understanding. I mean, whenever I'm talking to new buyers, every single time, Christina, who works with me, we're always saying, look, no matter what listing you see, listed with you, listed with another person internally in our company.
Reach out to you.
And
treat your real estate agent as your doctor or as your dentist or something.
You're going with my little thing. That's a great
segue. Those are your lines?
That is definitely what I do say. So essentially,
agree to disagree, but go on.
You're going to the dentist. You have your dentist, and you should also have your real estate.
Yeah.
There's a big spiel about all of that I pitched, but check the ferry. But
what time?
It's early. But anyway, so. But yeah, no, it's definitely really, really important that you can work with one person. And the benefit to a buyer for that, or a potential tenant when you're looking for different properties, is typically in most gross transactions, which are what most transactions always are, the landlord pays the commission, the typically 1 month commission, and then the seller also pays the commission to the agents, both agents, whether you do a co-broke or you go directly. So really, it's at no cost, and it's only building a fantastic relationship where you can build that level of trust with one agent.
That person knows you, knows what you want.
Knows what you've seen, and you don't have to also, unfortunately, rely on sometimes a lack of communication and being able to hear back from people, chasing up. This is a business, and people need to be able to respond within an hour. Typically, I like to say, but technically 24 business hours.
You haven't checked your phone in an hour, mate.
Well, because my phone's inside, so I'm not distracted. But
my phone is on me, bro.
I'm freaking out right now. I need my phone. But anyway, it's so important, and it really does benefit people. And then you really go through a journey with an agent who really cares about you beyond what a commission is. They care about the transaction and getting the deal done. That's if
they're working for you. They're working for you.
They're working for you.
Yeah.
at no cost to you. And really, the business is all about clients. If you take care of your clients, commission will always take care of itself. You put them first. You put their goals and aspirations first, and you will do well. In a small,
This guy, you're preaching. You're preaching.
it's
I'm
a small island.
I'm loving it.
It's a
I'm
small
loving
island.
it.
It's all about, honestly, it's about the relationships.
No, for sure.
It's not about anything else. Selfishly.
So the last thing that I would say, I mean, and we can, there's going to be other points, and I mean, there's probably plenty of information on what you should exactly be, like tips that you should be looking for as a potential first-time buyer.
Well, we can help. If you're a first-time buyer and you see this, you can reach out to us. I've got good contacts at all the banks and mortgage lenders and things like that, where I can put you into touch with, even if you're not looking to buy for 3, 4, 5 years.
Just start the conversation, and because a lot of people is on the property skippers and the real estate websites, and people are checking.
Shout out property
regularly. Yeah, shout out property skipper.
Peter Goodall doing big things.
Yeah, let us know if you want to sponsor.
Yeah. We have no sponsors, guys.
We have no sponsors.
We just got the view.
Tabs. Who else was on the list?
I don't know. Everyone. Coral Coast.
Grey Goose.
Yeah. Sure.
Anyway, back to
pocket squares.
Pocket squares, please. English sports shop.
It's called. My barber.
But anyway, so one thing that I think people need to really realize is, what are you trying to buy? Like, what type of property are you after? I find that people don't actually know what they want.
Yep.
So I mean, you're not going to really know what you want until you. How can I put it? I was going to crack a joke and say, till you waste an agent's time and see 10 properties, and then you know what you want.
I mean, no time. I honestly, I know, but no time is wages, because sometimes you don't know what you want until you look.
Right? Yeah, you got to narrow it. You got to narrow stuff down, and I completely get that. But I think that's one of the things you really need to figure out is exactly what is your purpose of buying. Are you trying to buy something for investment purposes?
Yeah.
Are you trying to buy something that you start a family with? Are you trying to buy something that you make a homestead? Are you trying to generate income from it? It depends what you're trying to buy.
Bermuda's a small place. There's not that. You're never really going to find the perfect solution for you.
Yeah.
Right? So you also have to.
Do you want to buy land? Do you want to do it? Do you
prioritize your must-haves?
Yeah.
And you might have to compromise a little bit in certain areas, but really, it's the most common silly saying. But location is so key. Mm-hmm. But you also have to know: are you buying? And talk to your agent.
And that's where agent comes in handy, to be completely honest, because they ask you these questions. They grab this information from you, and they help really just, detail and consolidate exactly what you're after.
We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen with the market 5, 10 years, 5 months from now, whatever. But, there's certain properties, types of properties, whether they're 1 level, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, certain locations, where they have a higher chance. I will always say to people, I'll never promise them a thing, whether people are like, do you think I could get this for sale now, or this price point now? You can always just give them, yes, I think you have a high likelihood of this compared to certain other situations and properties. So, if it's a 5-10 year property, I know people who are looking and helping them right now for things like that. Yeah. Or is it something that's going to be their forever home? I mean, a lot of people sometimes buy 3 properties in their life. They buy the starter home, they buy the forever home, and then they downsize to a condo or a 1 level space. So
knowledge.
So, guys, I think at the end of every episode, we'll probably go over some of the key points that we talked about today.
Key points. I see what you did there.
You got me scared. I was like, what did I say?
Yeah, but, some of the major keys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shuttle Khaled sponsorship.
DJ Khaled.
Anyway,
we're
so
the best. But
let's go down some of these keys. What's one of your key takeaways that you want to, if anyone wants to land
just
with?
To absolutely squash the myth that international buyers can't buy, and actually it is very attainable to buy in Bermuda, but Bermuda is protected for Bermudians. We don't, you can't buy absolutely anything, and it's really in areas that, even a lot of Bermudians own these properties, and it actually is good. We get more investment. We get these 8% for a house, 6% for a condo, 6.5% for hotel tourism, condos.
Someone studied.
Yeah. Been studying since I was born, mate.
It's a key, so it's just going to be short. But
it's
I got
a key, and that is it for my first. That's my biggest
key. That's
my first key.
Okay, my first key. Well, I guess my key and takeaway for you guys today would be, if you are trying to get involved in the property market, is to know exactly where you stand. Shop yourself around. Get yourself out there, start viewing properties, and just know exactly what your budget's like and what you want and what the purpose of you buying the house is for. All right, I think that's. I think that sums it up.
Definitely.
And I think that's
third key. I would say follow what we're doing.
Yeah, watch this podcast.
Watch
this podcast so we can get sponsors.
No, but watch.
No, Jay.
This guy. Yeah, always,
I'm a sponsor guy.
He is a sponsor guy, but it's I think we all can learn together and learn from one another. And just this is a
send us questions. Reach out
sort
to
of
us.
effort for what we're
Yeah,
trying to
reach
do,
out to us. I mean, if you want to be a guest or you have something that interesting topics or something that you'd like us to discuss or you'd like us to reach out to people for certain things, by all means.
And what we also want to do, totally separate from real estate, is Daniel and I certainly are big proponents of entrepreneurs and what they're doing and supporters of that. And I think every time we can highlight different businesses that whatever people are doing and involved in, not even just entrepreneurs, but any businesses in general. So is there any in particular that you want to kind of talk about?
I think what, today I'll keep it sort of close to home.
Okay.
I'm Southampton.
Yeah.
So I'll go with Island Paints. I have a buddy who runs a shop down there. Island Paints and Stoney's Tools and Equipments. It's essentially So it's essentially anything that you guys need in a sense of they've got all sorts
Painting
of tools and equipments, and they've got a variety of pools. Paints and whatnot. Yeah, and you can go there for anything you need. It's located in Well Bottom in Southampton, and by all means, just take a little drive down there and see what they have to offer. They're on Instagram, and they're good people and good customer service. And I think that's how we will end today.
We're supporting everybody, every Bermudian, every business, and really trying to bring some value to you guys. So thanks again for
joining
listening.
us for our very first episode.
It was probably longer than we thought.
Yeah,
and it probably could have gone on longer. It feels a little cold. Got a haircut, so I'm feeling the breeze on the back of my head. But
anyway,
we should wrap it up.
You can see our Instagram and our socials somewhere around here, I guess, right?
I've seen that.
Is it popping up? I think that's what they're going to do. Anyway, we'll show at the end. Yeah. And one time, actually, a huge shout out for the behind the scenes team, which is a one-man team right now. So far. Shout out Amir Mirsky. All right. Amir Meng. He has been great, top-notch quality. Yeah. And we guys will see you next month. All right.
Keys to the Rock. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Bye.